Again, another sort of big Marvel success story in 2014 was Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Again, another genre film, which is really interesting.
Yeah, totally. This feels like a Cold War thriller. Like this is not
Yeah.
it's a superhero movie, but it's not really a superhero movie,
Yeah.
which is what I love about it.
Yeah, I love Joss Whedon, but he's not the most cinematic director. Winter Soldier, which I think is my favorite still of the Marvel movies, it has this vibe that's really cool because it's using characters that have now been established in several movies, but changing even the visual style of it, the tone of it. It just feels different from the get-go and has it really cool. It stands out on its own. Even though it's another Captain America movie, you still feel instantly like, no, there's something else going on.
I mean, Anthony and Joe Russo, the directors, who are actually sort of the keepers of the MCU now, going to be directing Civil War and Infinity War Part 1 and 2. And they really proved with Winter Soldier, like, man, these guys directed Arrested Development. Like, that's
they did the paintball episodes of Community.
Yeah, like, it's insane. And then, but, Marvel took a chance. It paid off. Yeah. It's great.
Going in, remember, people were very cynical about that. They're like, oh, these sitcom directors are going to do it. But those two shows you mentioned specifically, Arrested and Community, which they were like frequent directors on, they're pretty cinematic for half-hour comedies. Actually, Community would go into sort of crazy places,
genre episodes.
And so they completely did with Winter Soldier. They weren't just like, oh yeah, it'll be another superhero movie. And it is funny that we went from people being like those guys to now, they're
those guys.
The Russos, bring it back.
I actually like The Winter Soldier was the first time I've seen a Marvel movie really prove that their willingness to just completely upend their universe. Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not like a wink and a nod to like, oh, there's this vibranium. We're gonna mention vibranium. All the movies are connected. Like, nah, man. Like there are consequences and like things are different after that movie comes out. That's really cool, I think. It's brave. Like, it kind of feels like that's hard to sustain over decades, but I mean, so far so good.
Yeah, it was cool how they did everything with the SHIELD reveal and whatnot, and then also just taking Cap as a character, because again, we talked about in the 2011 episode, he can be a tricky character on his surface, because you're like, oh, he's just Captain America. He does the right thing. So you have to kind of figure out something to bounce off him that makes him react in an interesting way, and I think this movie does a great job by having him dealing with the fact that he's a man out of time, but not in a silly way, not in a like, what's this do? But be like, he kind of sticks to a code that these guys aren't playing by anymore. And how does that work with him? I think that was really cool.
A lot of people have always assumed he was a very one-dimensional character. He's kind of treated like Marvel's Superman in that he's this like brave, patriotic,
sure, goody two-shoes.
And bullets bouncing off of him, everything's okay, but he's kind of dumb because he doesn't remember some stuff because he wasn't here for that time. Either he was in space or he was in a Frozen. But the way they handle his character in these films is very smart. Like he actually becomes very likable and flawed, and you worry about him in times. It's not just like he's unstoppable. So I'm really excited to see where they keep going with these movies.
Well, actually, I like Captain America's power level, I guess. Like, he's not invincible, and so I feel like they strike a really good balance between him being a superhero, but not just being some man that I don't feel like anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that fight scene with him and Bucky, I was going to say that's another great one. I was going to say the one on the bridge next to the van. How quick it's moving, Bucky pulling out the multiple knives. I mean, it was that was a really exciting sequence that proved the thing about Winter Soldier was it was coming after Cap and Iron Man movies, and it scaled down. I mean, it's still a movie with giant helicarrier battle, but a lot of it is very sort of practical effects, car chases, just two guys fighting who don't have superpowers or just have a bionic arm. And it shows you how big the stakes can be when you're invested in the character.
Right.
Yeah. I think the last thing that really jumps out at me at Winter Soldier, and I don't want to give it too much credit because it is a silly comic book movie, but it deals with
all the credit.
It deals with like real themes of like surveillance and the price of freedom and loyalty and when it's earned and not earned, and that's not stuff that you necessarily expect to see in a movie like this.
No, totally. I mean, that's Marvel, the MCU, and then even with stuff like Jessica Jones has done a really great job of having Iron Man 3 deal with PTSD, and having like Jessica Jones deal with rape, like in really like adult and like smart ways. Just continue to be impressed by these movies.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I mean, the 2014 is the year that I think the MCU. 2011 was the year it was established as like, all our movies are going to be connected. This is a thing. It's really happening. And 2014 is the year that I got on board with. All right, like I'm on board with you, Marvel.
Yeah,
like,
I'm no longer incredulous when I look at that slate of like 45 movies coming out in the next decade.
I don't know what an Inhuman is, but I'm on board to find out in 5 years.